Did you know that Johnny Depp, a man known for disappearing into some of the most iconic roles in cinema, just transformed something as simple as a fragrance ad into something that feels like an emotional short film? It almost sounds strange, doesn't it? Because when we think of commercials, we think of fast cuts, flashing images, a celebrity smiling for the camera, and a catchy slogan. But this one? This one feels like it should be shown on a big screen, with people sitting in silence, watching, reflecting, even questioning themselves. Johnny Depp's new Dior ad is not just an ad. It's an experience. And maybe, just maybe, it's a reminder of why cinema, in all its forms, still matters. When you watch it for the first time, you realize almost instantly that it's not like other ads. It doesn't try to scream for your attention. It doesn't try to dazzle you with glitter and glamour. Instead, it slows down. It breathes. It feels almost meditative. Every shot, every pause, every note of music has been carefully chosen, and together, they create something that feels larger than life. And yet, somehow, it also feels deeply intimate. That's the paradox of great art. It makes you feel both small and infinite at the same time. The first thing that pulls you in is the cinematography. Every frame could be a painting. The lighting is soft but powerful, creating shadows that seem to have their own stories. The landscapes are rugged, raw, untamed. Wide open horizons, empty stretches of desert, the kind of scenery that feels timeless and eternal. And that choice of setting isn't random. It's symbolic. It mirrors the idea of authenticity. The desert doesn't lie. It doesn't pretend to be anything it's not. It is what it is, harsh, beautiful, unforgiving, honest. And maybe that's exactly what this ad is trying to say. That truth, in its rawest form, is more beautiful than any polished illusion. Then there's the sound. Usually, commercials fill the air with catchy tunes or overproduced background scores. But here, the sound works like a heartbeat. It builds tension, but gently. It's not loud or overwhelming. It's steady. It's calm. It mirrors Johnny's presence, quiet, grounded, but commanding. And then his voice enters. Not forced. Not overly rehearsed. Just natural. Just him. And it feels like he's speaking directly to you, not to a camera, not to a crowd, but to you. Almost like a confession. Almost like he's letting you in on something deeply personal. And of course, there's Johnny himself. That's where everything comes together. He doesn't look like a polished movie star trying to sell you something. He doesn't even look like he's acting. He looks like he's living it. His eyes, his expressions, the subtle movements, they all carry weight. They carry a story. You can see resilience in his face. You can see artistry. You can see a man who has lived through storms and still carries the strength to stand tall. And maybe that's why it feels so different. Because it's not Johnny Depp the Hollywood celebrity. It's Johnny Depp the human being, the artist, the storyteller, the survivor. If you look closely, there's a deeper layer of symbolism in the way the ad is shot. The desert, the silence, the horizon, these aren't just backdrops. They're characters in the story. The desert speaks of survival. It's about enduring despite the odds. The horizon speaks of freedom. It's about possibilities, about journeys yet to come. The silence speaks of truth. It forces you to stop, to listen, to feel. And together, they form a backdrop that doesn't just highlight Johnny, it reflects him. His own story, his own struggles, his own resilience. That's what makes this ad different. It's not Dior using Johnny Depp to sell a product. It's Dior telling a story that only Johnny could embody. It's about authenticity. About freedom. About truth. And Johnny, with his own history of reinvention, his own journey of storms and comebacks, fits into that narrative perfectly. It feels real because it is real. Something else you'll notice if you pay attention is the use of pauses. In most commercials, silence is something to avoid. Advertisers fear silence. They want noise, sound, action. But here, silence becomes the most powerful tool. Those quiet moments, when nothing is said, when the music falls away, when it's just Johnny and the landscape, those are the moments that make you lean in. Those are the moments that make you feel something you can't quite describe. Because silence, when used right, is louder than any sound. And let's talk about the camera work. No quick cuts. No flashy edits. The pacing is slow. Intentional. It gives you time to breathe. It gives you time to absorb. It creates intimacy. You feel connected, like you're sharing a moment rather than being sold something. And that's genius. Because that's how film works. That's how art works. It doesn't rush you. It invites you. It holds your hand and says, "Stay here a little longer. Feel this with me." And Johnny's voice, how it's used is so clever. It's not overly polished. It's not smooth like a professional voice actor. It's raw. It's textured. You can hear the life in it. You can hear the years. You can hear the battles. And that rawness makes it human. It makes it relatable. It makes it believable. Because perfection can feel fake. But imperfection? That feels real. And maybe that's why people are responding to this ad the way they are. Because it doesn't feel fake. It doesn't feel forced. It feels like art. It feels like truth. And in a world where we're constantly bombarded by noise, by superficiality, by things that feel hollow, something this real stands out. And it makes you think, maybe the reason it works so well is because it reflects Johnny's own journey. He's not a stranger to ups and downs. He's not a stranger to storms. He's lived through the highest highs of superstardom and the lowest lows of public scrutiny. He's been celebrated, and he's been criticized. He's been a hero and a villain in the media. But here, in this moment, he's just himself. No mask. No character. No performance. Just a man standing in truth. And that's powerful. Because deep down, isn't that what we all want? To be able to live authentically? To be seen for who we really are? To strip away the layers, the expectations, the masks, and just be ourselves? That's what makes this ad resonate so deeply. It taps into a universal desire. A desire to be real. And that's what elevates it from being just a commercial to being a piece of art. Art, at its core, is about truth. It's about showing us something real, something human, something that makes us feel. And this ad does exactly that. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It doesn't dazzle. It stirs. It doesn't sell. It connects. The more you watch it, the more you realize how many layers it has. On the surface, it's simple. Johnny in the desert, a voiceover, some music. But beneath the surface, it's profound. The desert is isolation and endurance. The horizon is freedom and possibility. The silence is truth. His expressions are survival. His voice is authenticity. And together, it becomes a story about resilience, about artistry, about what it means to live fully and honestly. And here's something worth thinking about. Maybe Dior knew exactly what they were doing when they leaned into Johnny's story. Maybe they knew that his personal journey of resilience and reinvention would make the message more powerful. Or maybe it just happened naturally, because truth has a way of shining through, no matter what. Either way, the result is undeniable. This ad doesn't just sell fragrance. It sells a feeling. It sells a truth. And that's why it's unforgettable. So think about this. When was the last time a commercial made you stop and feel something? When was the last time an ad made you reflect on yourself, your own journey, your own desire for authenticity? Not often, right? That's why this one is so special. Because it doesn't just make you think. It makes you feel. And maybe that's why it's being called a cinematic masterpiece. Because it uses the tools of cinema, symbolism, silence, pacing, authenticity, to create something that transcends advertising. And in doing so, it reminds us of why Johnny Depp, after all these years, still has the power to move us. And when you watch it again, notice the little details. Notice how the camera lingers just a moment longer than you expect. Notice how the music doesn't overwhelm but instead supports. Notice how Johnny doesn't act but simply is. Notice how the desert, the horizon, the silence, they're not just backgrounds. They're part of the story. Because that's what makes it art. It's not what's shown. It's what's felt. And maybe that's the ultimate message. That truth, in its purest form, is beautiful. That authenticity is more powerful than any illusion. And that sometimes, the quietest voices are the ones that echo the loudest. Johnny Depp's new Dior ad isn't just an ad. It's a reminder. A reminder that even in a world full of noise, authenticity still matters. A reminder that sometimes, less is more. A reminder that truth is timeless. And that's why you can't miss it.